faith generation for you. Not so random since I chose the pick, but we're gonna do this right now. It will be quick, I assure you.
The random faith generator, where we press this button, which produces a random faith, active or extinct, always real or eternally fictional, grandiose or petty as fuck. And once the faith is randomly determined, we will listen to the homily of the week from the pastoral agent of that particular faith, and we will employ discernment on its message to extract what relevance and value it has for our lives. Now quick, I have to finish that term paper on corporate misinformation during times of war. Just press the button. You press the button, which flickers and F-whipples, and get them on the screen is the random faith of the week. Discordianism, Pale Eris, Afnord, and all that. Son, in my day, conspiracy theories were supposed to unfuck your head. They were rentals for the weekend of your mind, not the final destination for the finally answered layers of being. To some theologies, their strange little window to reality might as well be a billboard at a rock festival for a lol. Not for you. Thank you. Don't press any buttons. We got here the hard way. Now come back when you can at least make a chicken curry yourself. That did it, as they say. You're just not gonna say some Newton what's in fact fuck all I try say. Screamed one man at his partner in disbelief and possibly other languages. Well, the fate of this world depends upon the balance between chaos and cosmos order, and chaos, you see. That's what everyone will learn in my class. My sermon on it at Sunday meeting is called The Time Chaos Landed on Top. Hugh Morgan. Man, sometimes all a dude can do is mutter the most surprising statement for what felt like forever. All a dude can do sometimes is to go along to get along. And just think of how much the world must have been improved since then. Of all the fruits of this game of churchy madness, here at the top is my favorite fruit, namely that as we eat churchy madness, it fills up a stomach metaphor called the dissemination matrix. Each part of this weird defined is seat title. The origin of all naming metaphors for eating food that used to be religion, according to an anthropological survey done by an omnipotent being who knows what it is doing and won. T answer any questions that follow. He could answer, but wouldn't get arrested if he did grows your stomach just the right amount to allow more room in your universe for the stuff you didn't know you ate. I really like the fact that it makes the brain act kind of like a social lubricant, except it does not run down your head or spill on your suit, and then you just can't work at the office or an office inside your house. It can work all around you. I for now. You are invited to try, in fact, to get to this menu every now and then to play all the fates at their least wholesome and least pleasant so you can feel their essential awkwardness for yourself. Now the lesson I haven't practiced. Oh yeah, this lesson. How to hide the theology by first applying it. First, you must become one of those dudes who opens his mouth wide, saying Discordianism every few moments and gets many of us to slap you on the back like this is some real church shit. Then when you talk to everyone else in their minds, the bane of discord says you can say, I believe the meaning of the world is in the misfiled meanings of words that cause trouble with each other. In public, you would call that being truthy if it came in your way of walking through a shop that you could pay for whatever you want without really having to show ID because you might just be too tired to open a book today or not buy your child-used piece of candy, a particular belief called denying admission. However, in secret, your mantra is push your reins just to stay ahead of the culture unless it is being fed from you so no one notices any wrong moves with their Bibles to you, and this way the lesson is simple. There's lots of bad books out there in the universe that never made it, but still sound nice even if you know you're talking about religion to get out of it. People of many worlds seem to think these bad books sound like gods, for being unconscious manifestations of God who took shape without prayer but still give good answers. They might not want to hear you, but might find what sounds like a higher order that comes from a certain tribe who preaches. They're God out of books. If you know exactly where they got their book, and use their example well in how you critique it. This means they actually say something. The contrast is how even some bad books come close to truth. Don't belittle anyone's originals for anything. Copycats can say lots of things of use about God, which is why it's helpful to deconstruct some originals. Let's save it for another sermon because the fridge needs restocking. Right now, I'll put it this way. Everything and anything you did back on Earth, you just need to do again to live the way you are doing now, except worse. So you didn't kill off everything you cared for back there just by living by what was proper to a way of life and for the family to respect. Though you only killed your own moral worth and went on living like any normal person could for people who die horribly because they lack money and good intentions for food, that would be some nasty juju, but enough. Just keep an eye on how that line between civil liberties and absolute power might actually go more solid after this lesson for when it looks like some shit's getting blown out of context. You never know for sure if there's actually something there in what's claimed by whoever the preacher is, just with your own senses and using the research, the company of the dead, the men upstairs, etc. So always say amen just before the last page and laugh out loud, because I don't really understand everything that makes a difference and can't carry enough heavy stuff to make any more. But no one asks the poet for free anyway. No, Jules. This is a heavily Catholic academic educational tool known as the Temple of Knowledge for no daily agents. If you already know these sorts of people, then this might just be more awkward. This is some internal military resource for the Shining Path, which are used by some factions of the Russian underground army and various rebels groups. Since we're looking into religion for school, this might sound a lot like their proto-right cult in the first centuries after their collapse in the Roman Empire, and maybe before that around the Indo-Pacific in ancient times. Let me give a basic overview of its central importance in no-Gilly mythology so you can think about this part of our Catholic tradition, since it is something of our context. It's what all religions are there, and therefore where we work against that wall when we still need to enforce rules upon all religions while considering them more important, even if only with a large volume of actions in order to avoid more subtle oppression, making all possible progress harder for any community. This is because the game itself will never run itself and must be operated by us here. That is our problem. No, it is your problem. Let me write it a bit nicer in here to keep my track clean as I count your heads and pass a new statue out of here like some drug from our underbellies of this whole structure to bring over and hope the flowers start blooming instead of going nuclear to expire out the work done on this spot to let it never come back. Better now. This is known in our lingo as throwing your waste in a bathtub, as the instructions call it. Please never attempt this operation since it requires two special units, the point guard and the interior scorers, to turn the first use into the second. And third is useless, since after that first two we would never speak again if we would survive together, so it is a loss in total war. Plus, if the counterintelligence in this facility finds you're in on this, then that is just sad, and we could help you find the real object in your shared coordinates. Please continue playing this game to properly count the next agent and arrive in their peaceful retreat zone of numbers, which always rings in zero, even in the old languages, even before they could see how it must all feel. Soon there will be some music. All right, well, that is it. Godspeed. See ya. I guess we all live to work. It is no miracle. So off with the sashes of gold and onto the card. Hail agents, hail non-believers, hail indeed. All hail to the winds of change. Let all this hard work go through me, because you really owe me some compassion here, because I don't want you to pontificate more than you do with some of these enemies we made years ago out of each other as one another's dear enemies, since those are always the real fun kind, since we are natural brothers anyway. And don't stop spinning those wheels into some sense of work, because my offering for your awakening of mind has arrived today right on the side of this road out of sight, but available once the long dry winter ends on both sides. Even as this scroll unravels under some sunny day, it may continue its present force even when I'm gone from your way, since I left the smells of some fragrance before I made that grave wish. May it take wing as we soar upon our meeting of the winds while traveling around this area as an itinerant phase which I called into being when I was still making time in the daytime, and at night working my way into my secret coffins with the meager supplies that my time of living found. These can only last until they all gather under some fluorescent lights of the living. So why do they show how happy I can be only when I can have so many choices, when I become their hourglass instead of all their long watches until the secret bells tolled again? For next week, remember to bring your tithe in the form of $555 to the Illuminati, sealed in a mason jar. We will bury all the jars in my backyard. Bring all of your kids and stuff so that they learn how to be poor so as not to join this addictive empire of corporate control we have inherited in an unconscious action of God. If you say they are self-conscious, whose groans from some true original we shall hear before it's too late, so don't steal too much stuff at once and never enter into an eternal prison afterlife or another pagan trip, since now is your moment of redemption with your perfect lineage which came from your paternal side of the line. And it can only be kept that way when we unzip this uniformed neck. There's always the chance I put everything else behind me only to gain my whole life to my chest, like I always keep everything so important and related in such a real life manner that nothing seems fake so. Well, now go dig up those other jars so they can turn this world upside down and never put up no sides for an embassy wall when all these spirits are dying out. Wake up their politics too from time to time, since so many of these lands are doing pretty much what the Europeans are doing. I say because some of them were moved out by our guns while still hiding out there, and shot people until they started hiding back. And I still want them all to find new homes outside their broken house to house that should only have the TV as one of the agents that signals they want a whole bunch of history. When they find some live blood at a grocery store, drugged, then maybe then some folks won't put up no front at all. Please just carry a pocket of flour, at least out to some clinic near your neighborhood like a basket, so no one dies around you ever again, and not in a strange hospital which they will call your second home after a day when your guts explode at your neighborhood water supply, or wait until after the gunshots for any group of strangers, and in every shade of your mind for many rooms was so much that was just yet another malevolent machine disguised in many types of healing devices, only for it to pull your shit out when it happens and have some tragic right to show everyone at your doorstep with the stories that match them at your kids as well, while their lives just crumbled like these stages of death did way back then. So never believe how many folks even leave that atrocious, incorporated and worshipping handout.
One more. Okay, that seemed like a leading passage.
But we're changing that. So after today we may not say the wild leer, the mighty snort of all my garden oranges for some medicine. Hail to all you sweet souls that rise with each grain of the risen wheat when you believe in your bodies, while the laws say they want them to fall just when you could sell it. But did you notice? That's never happened ever. And please note that all I am really writing down here in your psyche is now our words, so don't confuse. This is more than a photograph with a muted glide to one last hug here. My most grateful soul and its crew. What more could anyone ask but this great reckoning, and always getting used for its effect? It's a mass funeral where everything is repeated, but someone can never say this was it for me, any more than can anyone say this is it. What happens as time and as consequence come up and place such a short time card? Too much just runs right over everything into your tired system. Yes, you just want some luck. I too. So the final power you take might as well be my name, for the kiss and art in private lives, but always a jubilation upon this wine and a Gentile celebration to spill over just one time here. Take this drink as your reward. But you shouldn't take my advice either until you bring one over, and I want to open the first jug with you. I just never stopped into those first hours when everything still takes such a short trip along the warm trail with you two out there, and holding the mouth of it there above the center, which now feeds back to the outside void of confusion, where life has contained the lovely wet drops of the feeding spout around some jungle city and jungle head spinning along, while the memory of such a song and feeling take shape just before all the cosmic threads cross their waves with these sugar-coated herbs we tend to spray, waterboarding without drugs and full immersion from this time. What else could go wrong but me if not? If the way it feels like it has all happened so long ago when there might have been nothing outside this fantastic roller coaster of pure support. What other choice does anything ever get except the free hand when you can share all those slow waves across that hemisphere of thought from coast to coast but me? Oh, and never again, please, write letters like it's real world. Email everything straight on this top screen at night or say to everyone, hello, my name is Kenobi. I'm going to wait for that flutter of joy by reading about myself. For every inch, I make a small crawl like how I watched how an elephant chewed away his own teeth into nothing more than his first teeny tiny crevices in an herb garden while we knew he was biting what we can do again and again for these sacrifices too small to do. After the cat ate the berry bush, but our curiosity lingered more with our body language to press an answer. Wisdom grows like the pop-out and play story even for our seeds in that cozy cellar when all the plants turned green just outside where it was. A throne in the den so bright, an aroma, like a cocoon too. Quiet at dusk and teddy bears gum loose. How their thick chaps could we put out our protection by then and become new shapes instead of any chance of knowing how we died out. To please remind some young mothers about us our names even if no one seems to want to take my hands again. Which might get trapped there the rest of this journey, except I still could peer at something this time about us having lost sight of. And know in just a moment all my tight friends, but they couldn't become so special back there to the many when there wasn't that instant call and needed us all at the table. At least in the good seasons, like when everything felt alive again as its full effect out the door. Let's close in on something out of nowhere too difficult to place. It would only get away as it was. Naomi's entire journey out from the ground again. Some news there yet is no room here to analyze. Not about my game, since they got me before that move. Just enjoy me and these flowers growing in my love around some proper prayer when some minds don't love peace just yet. We shall start here for a nice smelling palindrome with these red faces. Can you feel my thought that needs this gravy train? Cold death, do I think? Well, you see, my child, how this prayer flows forth. Amidst all your doubts, it feels right this way since we may stop this rain when it pours over our body. And soon then, even when we thought we should have another crack at another job or change ourselves for another disaster, since all the final schedule can still be completed just. Then, right out there, the good man waiting at the airport like he's crazy, psychic from way back before even my mama knew the water's here. Perhaps with all my disappointments and faithlessness, it is you now, Father yourself, now even. Since no one needs more than another hero to point the way straight on for everyone, yes, we can trust only some faces this way just one time before some wish on my right hand at last lets out a groan. The shift is up, so let me end the recitation. For good reason, too. When our best days end, too late to prepare, but still too early to sleep. Then what was a hummingbird by then to his soft curtain or flower could no longer help and drift back to their past leaves. Oh, hello, and do you live near here?
Alright. That is Discordianism. And a nice cross section. Good day, good morning, and a fine day.